Hello, everyone, and welcome to Interview Friday. I am your host, Joel Marshall, and no, I'm not hypnotizing you, but it is Hypnotism Friday. And the way I know it's Friday is I've got shoes on. Tuesdays, barefoot. Fridays, feel free to wear shoes. Today, we've got a very unique show. There's nothing like it out on the internet. We are going to explore mesmerism. Oh my God, this is such a great sign. Mark Strugnell is here. Haven't seen him in ages. So glad to see the Wanderer returning. I hope to see him returning with some music soon because I'd love to play him on the show. One of my favorite internet musicians, favorite musicians out there. Yeah, it's great to see Mark. I hope you're all not getting hypnotized by the watch that is going back and forth. Yes, we're already mesmerized. So today I'm going to tell you, I've been threatening to do this for, a month, to talk about the father of modern hypnotism. Some people think that it's just sort of like a red herring that I always keep bringing up and I'm never going to deliver. But today is the day that we're going to be free-balling with Anton Mesmer, the father of modern hypnotism. He's not here, of course, because he's dead. But we're going to follow that up by speaking to someone who knows about hypnotism and knows about meditation and can really inform us on this. And his name is Agyat. Agyat was here 2 years ago. And he's coming all the way from Goa, India. And speaking of Goa, India, here's Just Jay Comedian. Has AirPods on. Awesome. Love it. Just Jay is coming to us all the way from Kansas. She is going to be meeting up with Kim Clevenger, hilarious comedian from here in Los Angeles, who also was on the show, but is now going to Kansas to do her comedy. So they're going to be doing like an interview out there. Chuck is having Freebase Friday. He's apparently stealing home. He's playing baseball, I guess. He's playing baseball. And let's see what, Agyat has been in Joel's mind. Yeah, he's been in my mind tinkering. Maybe that's, why there's so much glory on this show, because the mind has been expanded. Holy Mark. All right, let's get into this thing. First, I want to show you my shirt because right now it's being lost. It just looks like a black shirt, but it's actually one of my favorite shirts. So I've got the shirt cam going here. Here it is. It is a picture of a cat with a hand grenade. I mean, I'm going to interpret this. My interpretation of this. I don't know. Blas, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Can you, have you seen my shirt that has the cat with the hand grenade?
Yes, I did. And
I think that it is, Blas is still getting his shit together. I think that
no, I'm right here.
It means the animals are fighting back. Because as you know, we are the killer of animals. I said it. I said it. We are the worst enemy of every animal. Kim Clevenger's initials are KC. Kansas City. Coincidence? I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know. What should Just Jay ask her? Should she ask her? I'm thinking maybe what kind of foods she enjoys in Kansas City. Maybe how the Chiefs are going to do this year. I don't know. But let's get on with the show. This is called Lunch Therapy, and we say hi, hoy, golly, fly. How is your eye? It's difficult to say, but easy to sing. Am I an advocate of cats with hand grenades? I'm going to say yes. Because if anybody should have weapons, it's not humans. It's animals. This is, of course, a lynx behind me. We learned about it earlier on this week. The lynx has the short, stubby tails. cute as all get out. This one's climbing down a tree because cats, they have to climb down trees backwards because their claws are forwards. But we're going to do some breathing now. And we're going to do breathing to the Oregon Zoo's films of animals eating watermelon. One of the things that we've learned here on the show is that animals love pumpkins and they love watermelon. Look at his cute little tail and butt. She is referring to the lynx, of course. They have the cutest tails in all the jungle. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let's take in a deep breath. Hold it. We're going to need to breathe today because... Let it go. Because we're going to be talking to somebody... Look at that. Bats eating watermelon. We're going to be talking to somebody today who is intense. He is a meditation expert. He is a hypnotism expert. Some of us are afraid of hypnotism. Let's say it right here. In through the nose, out through the toes. I'm going to allay some of your fears, perhaps. I don't know. Let it go. And I've got the most, I've got a dance break that is going to blow your mind. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. And I invite you to dance with us at the end of the show. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. Why do you think animals love melons so much? I think that, for one thing, they're full of water, which is good. Let's see what Just Jay says. Being hypnotized could be like tripping. Right. We were talking about that earlier this week and last week about tripping, or as we call it, psychedelic journeying, something of which I know nothing about, of course. Sugary. Yes, they have sugar in them. I heard something recently that bears, before they hibernate, that's when the fruit all comes out and they eat all the fruit, and that helps them to store fat because there's so much sugar in there. It's like candy. Look at that. I mean, it dwarfs the watermelon. I like this guy. He's a lemur, of course. We love lemurs on the show. So I'm going to bring Bloss on now. Hopefully Bloss is ready to come on because we're going to explore a roving reporter, just a short segment, because the roving reporter footage is only one frame. It's just one beautiful frame. We're going to talk about that. Here we go. Blas Lorenzo, everybody. Oh, yeah, there he isn't. There he isn't. Let's see if he can show up. There he is. He's got his lovely green screen. Hey, Blas, first of all, I want to say, what is up with your green screen? What is happening there?
Is it not, I mean, I switched computers. I let you know
what
that
happened?
I switched. So.
Remember Tuesday when you just like totally couldn't come on? What was that? What happened then?
I think that when I did my pre-production test with Richard Gaddis,
yes,
I was already signed onto our program. So then when I went to open up to come in at 11:30,
it's a tragedy.
I was on, and then he was calling to get in the green room, and I.
Okay, I'm super bored by this story, Blas. I'm so bored by the story. We got to move on. Can you tell us what is behind us?
That is the Headley Grange house.
Do you know
Am I right?
what? Yeah, tell me what it is. Oh, okay. First of all, I want to say Lawrence Ribeiro. I asked him to do a roving reporter at the Headley Grange because he was there, and he took this photo.
Oh.
But I think he was gone by then, so he decided to just send me the photo. So we have to do it ourselves.
Oh, I remember that that he didn't get a chance to do the video. Well, it started out as a workhouse back in like the 1600s, right after the Napoleonic era, I think. And they took homeless people or poor people, and they brought them there and they gave them work and some place to stay and some place to live, and that's what it was. And then through the centuries, the last couple of centuries, 19th century and everything else, it ended up being like an infirmary. It ended up being like a place for the sick and the ill. then it changed again back to the sort of like the workhouse. And what it was, the way it reads and the way it sounds is like it was poor people. It was like they were in prison, and you know how prisoners make license plates.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had thought that later on in the 1800s that they can go, oh, we got free labor. Why don't we use it, the free labor? And then uh, I guess they decided that that was not smart or not nice or kind, and then they flipped it back to helping the ill and the old, elderly, and the poor, giving them some
You are.
place, and then they get actually work while they're there, you know, feeding themselves. I kind of feel like maybe that's something we should consider.
So tell me something about what Greg Ortolus says. Led Zeppelin is the only thing that is important.
There it
about this place.
is.
Maybe
That's
you
where
could
he wants to
speak
go.
that. Yeah.
So
let's go
now,
there.
this time, and in the 70s, it turned out to be this empty-looking, beautiful castle, kind of damp, no heat place. And bands like Led Zeppelin actually, they went there and they did a bunch of songs from 3, 4, and 5, I think, were on the album. Like what's his name? Is it Robert Plant? He
Yeah.
wrote "Stairway to Heaven" in one day there.
In one
He wrote
day.
most of the lyrics of "Stairway to Heaven" in one day, and they were just. It's one of those places where they got to retreat, and the whole band could be together and just kind of live there, a live-in spot. It was one of those kind of
So
spots.
cool.
Genesis were there. They worked there as well, and
You know the song Black Dog?
Yes, Black
song?
Dog. Actually, they wrote Black Dog based on a black Labrador that was on the campus, on the premise there, that would roam around and live there at Headley Grange. That's where that song came from, Black Dog.
That is so cool. That'd be great to have a place that you could go and do and just work like that. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, and you know too, it's like they didn't do that a lot back then. Like how bands are moving and traveling and touring and stuff. So they were writing as they were going. So when bands like Led Zeppelin, like when they on their third and fourth album, when they had a bunch of success, bands started doing retreats. They started going places and being together and writing and just kind of shutting it down. A lot of artists do that now. A lot of writers do that now.
Have you ever done that?
just
Gone off on like a
throw everything in.
retreat to like write something or work on music?
Yeah, I did that with music a few times. Like I went away up north to the Bay Area and I worked on some music with a new artist. This was a few years ago with a new artist, and they had a camp of people, and they brought us all in for like the weekend, and everybody just kind of worked on this guy's concept and his album. Like it seemed like the guy who was producing him, the independent record company, they didn't really know what they were going to do or how they wanted to do it. So a bunch of us we're jamming. We're doing jam sessions to find out what the rhythm was, and he came up with a sort of an R&B, like sort of an R&B hip hop type album with a little Latin influence, like that.
That's cool.
But it was I've done that before with that. I've done it with trying to write myself. You know how like, you try to go away somewhere and you go,
Yeah.
I'm gonna write my book. I'm gonna write my thing.
Do you find
And
it
you go away
useful?
when you're by yourself. You're kind of like, you have to find inspiration. You got to find something that's gonna, thrust you into writing it. And I
Well,
remember
like
the
everybody wants
first
to be
day
like
I did
Thoreau
that.
and go and hang out in a cabin somewhere and write the great
Yeah,
American novel.
but you gotta have you gotta be, you gotta have something that you're thinking about, that you're working
Yeah.
on. You can't just show up there and go, okay, what am I gonna write about? Oh man, you're
It
jacked.
like
I
puts
did that
extra
one time.
pressure on you. All right, so we got to move
Yeah,
on.
I
I'm
went
going to bring you
fishing and
back.
I was like,
I'm going to bring you back on when we talk about Agyat, when we're in the Agyat interview, which is coming up. But first, I'm going to talk finally. Let's see what we're going to talk about mesmerism. Let's see what Jason says. Something to thrust you. Wow. Yeah. Something to thrust you. It sounds pornographic.
right, you gotta be thrown into
Doesn't it?
something. You gotta something's gotta inspire you. Something's gotta get you going, get the
Yeah.
motor going.
You got to light a fire somehow. However you light a fire.
Who are you?
All right, I'm moving on because we're going to talk about Anton Mesmer. And this is Franz. Yes, Franz Mesmer, Anton Mesmer. I don't know.
Franz,
We're gonna
Anton
sort that out as
Mesmer.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Here we
guy's
go.
good.
It's a segment I like to call historical paranormal. I don't know why. Okay, so I've been threatening to talk about this for a long time. It's something that's super interesting to me. And maybe Greg Wardlow will fact check me as I go along because, I can get off the trail sometimes. So we're going to talk today about Anton Mesmer, Franz. Somebody is calling him Franz. He has many different names. But a month ago, so this is what happened is a month ago, we were talking to a guest who mentioned the Church of Christ Scientist, or the Christian Science Church. And that led us to talk about this woman who's on the screen here, Mary Baker Eddy. If you want to find out more about her, I have a segment on her a few episodes back. Very interesting woman who worked with spirituality and the healing of the body. And it's a super interesting thing. The church is still around today. There's, some controversy because they don't necessarily go to the doctor a lot because they think they can heal themselves through their own spirituality. And, more power to them for sure. And I believe that that is true. And I believe that that has been proven that you can indeed heal the body with the mind. But Mary Baker Eddy was inspired or worked with a fellow named Phineas Parkhurst Quimby. And I was like, who's this guy? And it turns out he learned a lot about the way the body heals itself through this guy, Anton Mesmer. And Anton Mesmer, Anton Mesmer, some people just call him Anton Mesmer. He is a super interesting guy, it turns out. He was born in the village. That's a picture of him. He was born in this village called Isnang, which is now part of the municipality of Moose on the shore of Lake Constance in Swabia. So that, that already sounds like complete bullshit, but that's actually true. Swabia is actually what they used to call Germany, perhaps. I don't know. This is something that I need to be fact checked. But anyway, Anton Mesmer spent most of his adult life in Vienna. He studied as a doctor, and he wrote his doctoral dissertation on the influence of planets on the body. So one might think, this guy is kind of nuts, and he's into astrology, and he's kind of a kook. But actually, this stuff's pretty scientific. And now, a lot of us, we do believe this. We believe that for instance, we believe that the moon's gravitational effect has an effect on the tides, and therefore has an effect on us as well because we're all water. Greg says it's Franz. Okay, fine. Franz Mesmer, Anton Mesmer. He's got two first names. Was he a serial killer? This is a good question. Well, it's interesting. We'll get to this. He was not a serial killer, but some people thought he was sketchy, perhaps. But we'll get into that. Let's just see what the chats are saying. God, those Viennese doctors at the time were something else. Freud et al. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So the time period was the 1700s. In fact, Franz, Anton, here it says A. Mesmer, of course. That's Anton. He was friends with a lot of different people. One of the people that he was friends with was this guy, Maximilian Hell. Yeah, his name was actually Hell. He actually changed it to Hell because it was originally Hell, which is a little bit like holy. So he decided to go with Hell. He's like, what the hell? Let's just go all the way with it, right? So he went with the name Hell, and he was friends with Mesmer. And he was a cool guy. He was the third son from a second marriage of his father, and the couple had 22 children. How is that possible? I mean, it's kind of a hell, right? Imagine paying for college. So Maximilian Hell was an astronomer. So the two of them hit it off because they were both looking at bodies and space and how they affect humans and how they affect each other and all that. And I don't know. I'm going to end on the Maximilian Hell thing here. I'm just going to end off on talking about him because it's really irrelevant because we're talking about Mesmer. But I do want to say there is a crater on the moon named after him. So that's pretty cool. I don't know how many out there have craters on the moon named after him, but Maximilian Hole has one. Everybody's saying it's France. Let's see what Chuck says. Okay. All right. Let's get on with talking about, I'm going to call him Anton. Anton Mesmer. Here he is. So, okay. So another side note, because this is full of side notes. He also knew Mozart. Yeah. In fact, you know, because they're there in Vienna and Mozart's there. And so Mozart, it's a little side story. Mozart composed an opera at 12 years old because, of course, that's Mozart. And it was about 500 pages of music. And the performance was prevented because somebody in the court said, you can't do this. You're going to put people to sleep with 500 pages of music. And so Mesmer said, hey, Mozart, why don't you come over to my garden and you can perform another one of your operas. And so Mesmer at the time was married to this wealthy widow and had this huge property. And Mozart came and performed, had the opera performed in his garden. So there you go. So there's some legitimacy for Mesmer. Now we're going to get into like what he did. So have you heard of mesmerism? That was coined off this guy's name. It's not called Antonism. It's not called Franzism. It's called mesmerism because that's the only name that any of us are sure that he had. And what he did was he at first was like, okay, the body is affected by the planets. He's going on that theory. And he has this idea that there is a fluid in the body that moves through the body. And when somebody's ill, there's a blockage somewhere. This doesn't seem too crazy either. If you know anything about Chinese medicine and qi energy and how they believe that there's, you know, blockages in the body and that's why we have different ailments. He thought it was a fluid. So much so that he would give somebody a pill with some kind of metal in it, like iron. And then he would take magnets. He was a specialist of women. It's true. Are there capybaras in this story? I don't know. I got to check in with Greg just to see what if any of the facts are going on here. So I want the last name Hell. I name my kids What the and Go to and give them. It's France. All right. He looks like a pervert. This is a good question. We're going to get into that, whether he is a pervert or not. Listening to Mozart versus Led Zeppelin is real hell. It's like he knows Kung Fu. Franz Anton Mesmer, thank you. We finally agreed to some kind of middle ground. Yes, so he called this animal magnetism. So he had them eat a pill, and then he would take magnets and he'd put them around. Usually they're women. I don't know why, but they're usually women, like a husband. Back then, it was a weird time. And probably medicine was really scary. They probably did all kinds of crazy stuff. And it didn't seem so bad taking just like a pill, an iron pill, and have, somebody put magnets around you. That seemed like a better thing than, some of the stuff that was going on with saws and things. So I would totally go with this. But for some reason, husbands would bring the wives to this guy and be like, he'd have them take the pill and then he'd take the magnets and he'd scan their body. And so the theory was if there's this fluid in the body and then you've got these metals in the fluid and there's a blockage, you could just plow through that blockage by dragging the metal through the body using the magnets. Seems like fiction, perhaps? Does it? Kamala thinks it's logical. Somebody brought up that same thing to me this week. I believe they call it chakra, okra. And she said it has been interrupted. Well, I mean, there's Reiki, right? Reiki. And then, of course, there's Chinese medicine. It's better than a lobotomy. That is so true. Created an artificial tide in Franziska Osterland to cure hysteria. Yeah, for some reason, women, they had hysteria a lot back then. I don't know any women that have hysteria now. He was an expert in calming women. Yeah, seems no wonder he was run out of town. So he was eventually run out of town. But before that, he decided, hey, I'm just going to ditch the whole magnet thing completely. Am I screaming? Am I yelling? He's going to ditch the whole magnet thing completely, and I'm just going to run my hands over your body, but not really touch you. Plow. I did say plow, didn't I? So he just would run his hands over the body. But then one day, a husband came to him with the wife and said, my wife can't see. Can you cure her blindness? And he was like, I'll give it my best shot. And apparently he couldn't. He didn't cure her blindness at all, or maybe just even a little bit. And so he had to leave Paris and leave Vienna and move to Paris in 1778. To put that into context, that of course we were just getting independence from the British back then. It was like 2 years after the Declaration of Independence. So that's the time period. We were trying to get away from Mark Strugnell's people at the time. And anyway, so he went to Paris. And I guess they had higher standards for doctors back then. Nowadays, if you go to the doctor and they don't cure you, nobody gets run out of town. They just hand you a big bill, regardless. But back then, I guess they were like, you can't fix it. You got to go someplace else. So he goes to Paris. In Paris, he became very popular because maybe it's because he called it animal magnetism. So the whole thing, like Guignel said, they called it animal magnetism. And for me, I always thought animal magnetism, and it was like kind of literal. I guess humans are sort of animals, and you got the magnets. The captain, I don't know, maybe typo. With Franziska, he gave her a pill of iron and then attached magnets to her. She reported feeling streams of energy flowing through her. Yeah, so there's a little bit of the power of suggestion going on, I think, too. Charisma. Interesting. Yeah, sometimes we call that charisma. So yeah, they actually advertise it as animal magnetism. And in France, they love that animal magnetism. French people, they are just into it. Yeah, isn't that interesting? He's there now. Okay. So he's there in Paris. Things are going pretty well. He came up with this thing. Basically, this is now what he's doing. Instead of doing the hands thing, because now he's getting all this business and he's got to handle lots of different clients. At first, he's like sitting across from with the knees touching. He sits across from his patient with his knees touching, looks into the patient's eyes. This is where the mesmerizing comes in. Then he passes his hands down the shoulders, along the arms. He presses his fingers in the hypochondrium region, which is naturally below the diaphragm, above the knotty parts. Sometimes he would do that for hours. So I don't know. I mean, that does sound a little sketchy. I mean, that's kind of weird. Hours holding his hands in your hypochondrium. I don't know. So many patients then would have convulsions. And in order to, at the end of this whole performance, he would play the glass harmonica. I don't know. Look it up. It seems odd. It seems like I'm making that up. But that's what he'd do. He'd play the glass harmonica. And I don't know, calm them down a little bit. That was fun. Here he is. So then finally, he's like, I got so many customers, I got to build like a machine to mesmerize these people. Am I yelling yet? I think I'm yelling now. Oh, now we've got some French going on? Mémoire sur de l'erreur. No, somebody's got to do that one. Animal is Mesmer's 88-page book on his thinkings. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, then after the glass harmonica, he'd have a cigarette. They both would. Yeah, it sounds like it sounds like that's so. Okay, so the king there in France. Okay, so he makes this thing. It's called a baquette. I forgot to tell you about this. It's a big. I think I have a better picture of it here. This is an actual baquette that's in a museum somewhere, and this is a machine that he made to mesmerize groups of people, and he would have them hold on to those pipes. He'd get a whole bunch of women to sit around this thing. I mean, I only see women in this thing. Maybe there were men too, but it seems like it was a very popular thing with women. This seems like a weird, like something you'd see in like 50 Shades of Grey or something like that. But it's like they each held onto the pipe on this thing, and they would, it was like group mesmerization, right? So that was pretty cool. And somebody actually made a movie about this. It was called La Baquette de Mesmer. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that. Blas, oh, sorry, Blas, I didn't tell you that you're going to be on the screen here, I think, too. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm bringing you on, brother. There he is.
Am I ready?
Yeah, you're on. You're on. You're not quite green yet. Oh, you're green.
Is this a video?
This is a movie by this
guy. Is this the Mesmer bucket?
So this guy, George Méliès, 1905.
Malay.
Thank you. My French is terrible. It's non-existent. Yeah, he made this thing. And it's a movie about the baquette. This is his interpretation. The music is mine, so it's not his.
Yeah, it's got a little Benny Hill feel to it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it? But that's my thing. But yeah, the movement is.
This is his interpretation of Mesmer and his contraption.
Yes, it's a movie about it. Hold this pipe here, you're hysterical. And now I'm blocking it with comments.
Are those women? Those are women.
Yeah, these are women dancing around the baquette.
But he pulled the dresses out, hung them, and they turned into a dance scene.
This would be a whole show trying to interpret this thing, I think. I mean, it's really lots of face. Looks like a laundry machine magic, yeah. So anyway, you get the idea. This is what Mesmer did. Finally.
But this is George's interpretation.
This is George's, and this is in 1905, so this is like years. This is his like lunch therapy or something. I don't know, but he showed
like,
this thing.
Almost a century later.
It's actually like an interpretive dance of the baquet. Right?
They're great. Look at how good they are.
They're so like, is this hysteria or is this like after the hysteria is cured? I'm not sure. Baquet in French means tough. Thank you.
Totally after that. That's be totally after.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
It's not necessarily hysteria. They were calling it hysteria back then. Right? That era of keeping their wives in check, right? And they were hysterical because they didn't want to do that shit.
Because they were sick of the men bossing them around. And they were like, you're being hysterical.
That was the Me Too movement.
I'm going to get a baquet for you. All right. So that's the movie. That's beautiful. I got to go back to the end of this story. The end of the story. So what happened was in France, they started to get kind of sick of this guy because they're like, hey, he's, molesting all of our women. Maybe we shouldn't be paying him to do that. So in 1784, King Louis XVI appointed 4 members of the Faculty of Medicine to investigate animal magnetism. But instead of going to Mesmer and investigating what he's doing, they investigated some other person. I don't know why. And the weird thing about it is the people that he got to examine the practices of mesmerization were this guy Antoine Lavoisier. I can't say the French names. This guy Joseph Guillotine, and guess what he invented? Blas, can you guess?
Mackerel.
He invented the guillotine.
Holy mackerel. He
invented a tool to chop people's heads off, and now he's passing judgment on this other guy? Give me a break. Give me a break, right?
That's like J. Edgar Hoover judging.
So then then this guy, Jean Bailly, I'm not sure what he was. I probably could tell you, but I don't quite remember. But anyway,
He
John,
looks short.
he does. Why? Because of his nose,
Does not
his
look like a
prominent
tall man. He
proboscis.
did. I mean, look at how small his head is. He looks small.
Yeah.
His shoulders are small. He's a small man.
And this
John.
guy, can you believe it? Benjamin Franklin was on this committee with the guillotine guy. And so
Yeah, Ben
they
was,
made the
pretty
committee
popular
and
back then.
they examined somebody else, not even Mesmer's practices. They just they said, let's look at somebody else's work. This is Mesmer here. And you know what they decided? He's a quack. Get him out of here. Sent him back to Vienna. Mesmer went there to live out the rest of his life. And now today, we still say, well, I say, and many others, including the Institute of Hypnosis, say that this guy is the father of modern hypnosis. So his mesmerism spawned many other followers that eventually it became hypnosis, which is, also used for hypnotherapy and lots of other things. Also, they say that he is one of the first people that introduced the placebo effect. So, so he did some, pretty groundbreaking stuff. Just trying to cure hysteria, I guess. So there you go.
I'm curious.
What are you curious about?
I'm curious that it said that he's the creator or the inventor of modern hypnotism.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm curious what other countries at the exact same time or even before him had practiced that, like Asia, like China, or maybe India, or maybe anywhere else that maybe this guy went over there, saw some stuff, came back with some stuff. You know what I mean?
It's a good
they
question.
They were known for doing that back then.
It's a good question.
Were known for, they were known for taking other people's stuff and calling it their own, or they've done it with land too, I've been told.
This is a good question. I think we need an expert. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think we need somebody that could verify and confirm, the facts.
I wonder who we could get to do that.
What happened to Jeff?
I know. Why don't I go back into the past to last night and interview Agyat over there in Goa, India, and ask him about hypnotism and maybe Western hypnotism versus Eastern hypnotism.
That sounds good.
What do you think about that?
You okay with going back to last night?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I only go back in time. I only do it. You can only do it so many times, the going back in time thing.
That's what I'm saying. Your body takes a toll on you. So
it's worth it, though. It's worth it. I've been working out. There are many Eastern people in Europe. Yeah, he's saying maybe, Jason is saying maybe, there were some Eastern people in Europe that were influencing. It's a good question. All right, let's get on to the interview because we're running out of time. This is going to be Agyat. He is in Goa, and I'm going back in time for some people therapy. Okay, here we are with Agyat. It has been 2 years since you've been on the show. It's so great to have you back on the show. Welcome to Lunch Therapy.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me here. So good to be here again.
All right. Last time we talked about meditation. And I spent some time, me and a lot of other people that watch this show, spent time with you years ago on a retreat where we did meditation, and some of us did hypnotism. And that is one of the things that I'm interested in. But first, I would like you to describe what you do. What would you say is your function or purpose in life at this time?
That's a good one. The purpose of life, I would say, is to help participants to raise their consciousness levels. Help human beings raise their consciousness levels. And second purposes or the vision of my work is to help people integrate mindfulness in the marketplace, meditation in the marketplace.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
So
a
do you
lot of
mean
people
like
talk about,
in the business world?
yes, learn to be meditative in the business world, learn to integrate mindfulness methods and meditation into daily routine life. And in that work, I use Osho meditation or his mindfulness methods, plus I combine it with hypnosis as well. Because a lot of people struggle with the thing called mind. We have very little information about the mind. We don't know what it is. We know what brain is, but there's very less education around the subject of mind. Everybody has it, everybody uses it, but nobody knows how to use it. You get a new phone, you get a manual with the phone, how to use the phone, the user manual. But with this mind, we don't get any user manual, so we don't know how to use it.
I do find that you, as you learn things about how your mind works, and I think probably everybody's mind works a little bit differently. It's everybody's mind is unique. So sometimes you have to find the things that work for your mind. Would you say that?
Everybody's mind is unique because we've got different kinds of conditioning and the exposure. So we get programmed in two ways, genetically and environmentally. So that's why we look like our brother and sisters, our mom and dad, because our mom's DNA, dad's DNA came together, and this is how we got conceptualized. We came into, we got conceived, and we came into this world. So this is one part of our conditioning, physical, you can say physical conditioning, and then environment, the culture that we got the exposure of, and that's what builds the mind. That's what develops the mind. That's why each one has a different mind. And depending upon the exposure that you have got in your life, you would have different ability to deal with the difficult situations. So if 10 people would get exposed to a same challenging situation, all these 10 people would have different response. Somebody probably would run away, somebody would fight back, somebody would have a creative solution, somebody would do nothing. All these 10 people would have different response. Why? Because of their upbringing, their cultural and their genetic programming. However, you can be free from it. Who we are is not the mind. We are beyond the mind. Who we are is the vast empty space. You can call it awareness, you can call it consciousness, whatever you can. And this awareness, the mind comes from the awareness. So the mind that we call about the thoughts, where are they coming from? They're coming from awareness. And they settle themselves down in the awareness. And this awareness gets some blueprint. On the awareness, we get some blueprints by the environment and the culture. And that creates our uniqueness, our way of living. And there is another uniqueness that we have that comes when you come in contact, that comes out when you come in contact with the awareness. Your unique blueprint that you can share in the marketplace with the people that probably only you would be good at doing. Perhaps acting is for you, or teaching meditation is for me, or somebody else probably is painting, or some other person probably is singing or doing something else. So how do we find that unique strength, gift, and talent? And in my experience, I found it with the help of heightened awareness, meditation, by becoming more sensitive, by being more mindful. All these things, they started to come up, and I could find my own unique blueprint that I could share and contribute with people in the world, in the marketplace.
When we are more present, can we more easily see this blueprint that we have and perhaps adjust it if we need to?
So there are two blueprints that I'm talking about. One blueprint is which has been given to you by society, genetically, environmentally. Of course, when you're present, you can actually catch yourself in those behavior patterns. So most of us live in a very strict behavior pattern. We're not able to change those behavior patterns. So first is unique, the blueprint that we already have. First is identification of it. When you become aware of it, you can actually identify it. And then this is the first step, identification. And then you can, of course, you can change it. Once you identify it, you can work your way around it and change it. Second blueprint that I'm talking about is your uniqueness, your strength, gift, and talent that probably you can say God sent you with, or whatever you can say that sent you with, that you only have it. Nobody else have it. That particular thing, that uniqueness, of course, you can find out once you become more sensitive, more open with the help of regular meditation. Those strength, gifts, and talents, they come on the surface. And when you start doing those things that only you can do it could be anything. I don't know. It'll be different for everybody. And that's when you really accelerate. And for some people, it's really easy to find that out. For some people, it may take ages. Some people never find that out. But of course, because there is a certain amount of risk which is involved in order to go into that uncharted territory and explore, because there will be trial and error. You may not get success in one go. You may fail, and you may probably you would do it first time and you say, okay, I thought this was my uniqueness, but I don't like doing it after 1 month or 6 months. You might spend money, time, effort, then you change again, look again. So you need that kind of courage and openness to explore. So two blueprints I talked to you about. One is which is given to you by culture and society and the environment and genetic pool. This, of course, if it's not serving you, you can change it because it is built on an unconscious level. Other is your uniqueness, your unique strength, gift, and talent that you came up with in this word. When you came up with this word, you didn't have your slate was empty. When a child comes into the world, the child has nothing written on his slate.
Would you say that a child comes into the world with a brain and the mind is developed? Because you make this distinction between brain and mind. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So you go at it two ways. One is through meditation. Probably there are other ways as well, but another major way is through hypnosis. Yes. When we think of hypnosis here in the States, there are probably two things that we think of. Two things that I think of. One is the fancy parlor trick show where they have like a hypnotist up there. He has maybe a watch that he waves in front of people's face, and then they go into some kind of hypnotic state, and then he can make suggestions to them like, every time I say fish, you adjust your tie. And so the person will adjust their tie every time he says fish, and the audience laughs hysterically as we say fish, and the guy repeatedly finds excuses to adjust his tie. That's one way. And then the other thing is you can use hypnosis to stop smoking or lose weight or stop drinking, things like that. What is your hypnosis like, and how was it developed?
Okay, so when you talk about hypnosis, you need to understand three things. There's something called programming, reprogramming, and deprogramming. Programming meaning you already have a set program with you. Then reprogramming, you change that program, you alter it. And then deprogramming, you throw the entire program away. You become free from the program. Okay. Now, hypnosis only goes from programming to reprogramming. Meditation helps you to go beyond hypnosis as well, which is a part of deprogramming. Now, when you talk about the stage hypnosis, it works on the law of suggestibility. This kind of stage hypnosis would not work on everyone. So they in the crowd, they find out few people who are highly suggestible, meaning some people would have the better ability to take the suggestions as it is. Some people would doubt a lot. Some people would be very intellectual and they would doubt. So people who would doubt and cross question, they would not take them in the stage hypnosis. So first step.
So they scan the audience during the beginning, you think, and they're looking for the people that are more susceptible to hypnosis. That's interesting because I was telling Jeff Lohman that I was going to be talking to you today, and he said, ask him if there are people that are more susceptible to hypnosis. Suggestible. That's what you call it? Suggestible. And I was like, is that true? Are there people that are more suggestible?
That's true. Suggestibility, law of suggestibility. So there are three kinds of suggestibility in hypnosis. Physical suggestible, emotional suggestible, intellectual suggestible. Physical suggestible people are the people who take any suggestion directly. Emotional suggestible people, they would take suggestions in an indirect way. Anything you would tell to them, they would go in the opposite way.
Really?
Yeah, intellectual suggestible people would never take anything. Like it will be very difficult.
They'll take no suggestions.
They'll take no suggestions.
How can you tell the difference? You can look at somebody and tell the difference?
Yeah, after talking to them for some time, you can. Really? And the older the person is, usually the lower their suggestibility would be.
Interesting.
Because they become very, very strong, very closed. The close you are, the more close you are, the more emotional and intellectual suggestible you would be. The more open you are, the more physical suggestible you are. Now, suggestibility gets developed between the age 2 to 8. And it's usually 2 to 8. And it gets developed by the exposure that we get with some adults in our family. During the time, for female, male adult, for male, female adult. So any adult that we get exposure to, based upon that, our suggestibility gets developed. And then so this is happening all on an unconscious level. So if I'm more physical suggestible, and if I become aware of it, I can actually change my suggestibility to emotional suggestible. A little bit difficult, but with awareness, you can actually do this. Without awareness,
sometimes I think we have to do that as artists, or as if you're doing something that is unique, not even doesn't have to be an artist. If you're doing something that's unique and you say, I'm going to do this, and maybe it hasn't been done before. A lot of times people will suggest to you that you can't do that.
Yes.
And so you kind of have to train yourself, unless you're just naturally somebody that just goes for it and doesn't worry about what people say. But a lot of times we have to train ourselves to not be suggestible in that way. Can we do that? Can you do that through hypnosis?
Anything can be done with hypnosis. It's all about reprogramming yourself. So a program gets in place by repetition. All the programs that we carry all through our life is because of repetition. Certain things were repeated more than the others. That's why they became our fixed ingrained patterns. How to change them? Repeat the opposite. Repetition. When you repeat the opposite, you are free from those old programs and you have a new program in place. Very simple. So that's one thing that we use in hypnosis.
When you repeat them, okay, so what is your process for hypnotism? How do you, like if somebody comes to you and says, I really want to become more confident, let's say, and they come to you and say, how can I do this? How many sessions will it take? What do you then do? What are the steps that you take them through?
See, now I work in a different way with hypnosis. I used to work in a different way a couple of years ago. I would give one-off sessions or 2 sessions. Now I've stopped giving 1 or 2 sessions. I combine hypnosis with meditation now.
You combine the two. Okay.
So if I choose to work with anybody, I would say, okay, I'm going to work with you only if you're okay to work with meditation as well. I'm going to use both over a period of couple of sessions, and we're going to track our performance. And we're going to learn how to use this subconscious mind, our capacity. Now, there are 2 ways in hypnosis. Usually there are 2 approaches. One is forward-oriented approach, wherein creating the future that you want, which is based on probably a recording or repetition of affirmation of something that you want. And past-oriented approach, where you go backward into the past and you get rid of the past traumas, the memories that are haunting you, the fears, the phobia, the past life regression, all of these belief systems, changing the belief systems, age regression, all of this is past-oriented approach. So combining these 2 and meditation. So I take people as mentees now. This is how I work. This is a new way, and I've really found it really very nice and very powerful to work with people, because I keep a track of their performance and I meet them every week and I see where they are going, and I really see results. However, it depends on them. If they should be very open and willing and ready to work on themselves. It's not that some people have this expectation that they would go to a hypnotherapist, they would move their magic wand, and 1 session, 2 sessions, everything would be gone, and life would be hunky dory. No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen like this. You want to bring a changing the results that would change forever. You got to dedicate your life to meditation and awareness. It's not a pill effect. You take a pill and everything would be sorted. So my vision, as I told you in the beginning, is higher consciousness. We play the game of higher consciousness to raise the frequency that you are in. Now in hypnosis, when you use affirmation and you use repetition, what happens in repetition? When you're using repetition over and over again, same statement, there are 2 laws. One is law of vibration, other is law of attraction. Now people talk about law of attraction, but nobody talks about law of vibration. Law of vibration is the primary law. Everything vibrates on a certain frequency. Law of attraction is a secondary law. So whatever vibration you're vibrating on, you're going to attract the same thing into your life. So how do you change the frequency that you're vibrating on? Repetition. So either you say, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. So you're vibrating on a frequency of I'm not good enough. And what are you going to attract into your life?
People who feel the same way, right?
Same way.
People who feel like they're not good enough. They're not good enough. And you're going to be surrounded by a bunch of people, and you're all going to be saying, we're not good enough internally.
And internally, and also in your life as well, you would be exposing yourself to circumstances where you would not be good enough.
Yeah.
Because you're saying this, or you can say, I can do it.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I just want to ask you this. Affirmations, is that similar to hypnosis? If you say something,
Yes.
you wake
Of
up in the
course.
morning and say every day, you say the same things.
Yes. Yes.
That's also a form of hypnotism in a
Yes.
way, self-hypnosis.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. What is hypnosis? Hypnosis is a state of deep relaxation when you come in contact with your subconscious mind. That's the state. That's what hypnosis is.
Isn't that what meditation is as well?
Meditation is one step beyond that.
Hmm.
Meditation is beyond it. So in hypnosis, you're still in the realm of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
In meditation, you are above and beyond the mind.
So is that why sometimes people are afraid of hypnosis because they think somebody's going to hypnotize them and tell them to take their clothes off or something, and they will do something that they didn't want to do.
Possible. It
Right?
can
It's not
happen.
possible
It's
because
possible.
you're in your mind still. It's not like you're knocked out.
No, it is possible.
Oh,
There are
it
two
is
kinds of
possible?
there are two kinds of hypnosis. One is Eastern hypnosis, other is Western hypnosis. In
Huh.
the Eastern hypnosis, I don't know how to do Eastern hypnosis, but in the Eastern hypnosis, the hypnotherapist can take control of your subconscious mind and do whatever they want to do. This is not what I do. There's something called Western hypnosis that is used for therapeutic purposes,
Mhm.
wherein you would get control of your own subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Nobody else would get the control of your own subconscious
So
mind.
there are two different types of hypnosis.
Eastern and Western. Eastern
And which one do
hypnosis,
you do? You do the Western one?
Western.
Okay.
Most of the people that you find in the marketplace, they practice Western hypnosis.
Mhm.
Now, Western hypnosis is used to identify your the struggles that you deal with, the subconscious mind, the area that you struggle with, and fixing those areas, giving you the command of your own subconscious mind. So your
Okay.
conscious mind gets the command of your own subconscious mind.
Mhm.
Wherein in Eastern hypnosis, somebody else's conscious mind gets the command of your subconscious mind.
And what is the difference of the process in those two forms of hypnosis? Like
I don't know
how
about
do
Eastern hypnosis.
you don't know
I
about
don't
Eastern? You don't
Eastern. I don't
practice
know.
it, so you don't
No,
know
I don't know about it.
what they do.
Yeah, I don't know about it. In the Western hypnosis, it's just taking. Of course, there has to be a trust between the therapist and the client, and then
Yeah.
you identify the areas that the one wants to work out on,
Mhm.
and then you take the client into a state of deep relaxation. Then you go into the depth of your own subconscious mind, and then you bring out the things that you may be probably struggling with, and then you fix them with the help of speaking. It's an emotional release or just mental release, energetic release. So energetically, there are some techniques that are used to release things. You can also use breath. So multiple ways. When you're in a state of deep relaxation, whatever you're holding on comes on the surface. Because when your conscious mind is always in control, we suppress a lot of things. You're always in control. When the conscious mind goes out of the picture, whatever we have suppressed come out. For example, dreams. When we go to sleep, conscious mind goes to sleep. When the conscious mind goes to sleep, we have these vivid dreams. Whatever we have suppressed comes out, and you have no control in the dreams.
Yeah.
So
Well,
when
some people
everything,
do apparently. Some people have
some people,
lucid dreaming or something,
very
right?
few. How many people? Very few, maybe one or
Maybe
two
I know.
percent.
Well, maybe there are some
Nobody I
people
know
I
as
know.
nobody I know as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Probably this is some skill that some people may have, and
Yeah.
anybody can work on their skill. But I'm saying what I'm trying to say is, when you are dreaming, whatever you have suppressed, and it's also a venting out process. Dreaming is also venting out process.
Mm.
So when scientists did this experiment, when we sleep, we have 5 rapid eye movements in the night, 5 REMs. So in those REMs, we are releasing a lot of stuff through the dreams.
Energy, right?
And,
I mean,
and then after every REM, there is a few minutes of break of deep sleep. So in the beginning, scientists thought that dreaming is bad. So so what they did an experiment. They put some people to sleep, and every time they would be dreaming, they would see, because when you're dreaming in REM, your eyes move like this, side to side. So whenever they would see the eyes moving, they would wake the client up.
mm.
And whenever they would be deep asleep, they would not wake them up. So as they did this experiment, they realized whenever they woke the bunch of clients that they kept on waking up when they were dreaming, they never could get full sleep. So, but whenever they would wake the other bunch, when they were deep in sleep, they could get proper sleep. So dreaming was very important part of the game. So dreaming is a venting out process. So when your conscious mind goes to sleep, subconscious mind comes into the picture and you're venting things out. In the same way, what actually happens in sleep, you go into a state of deep relaxation. You're open, you're relaxed, you're not contracted. So we create that kind of atmosphere in hypnosis. That's what hypnosis is, taking you into a state of deep relaxation with a specific voice, some instructions, and some music in the background. Once you're in the state of deep relaxation, of course, you're open, your conscious mind is put to sleep.
What if somebody doesn't understand really what they're struggling with? Like they think it's one thing, but it's like another thing because it's subconscious and they're not really dealing with it. Does that come out through hypnosis, or do you have to like sometimes play detective and find what it is?
Yes, you have to be open. You ask question answers. You spend some time cognitively without going into hypnosis, figuring out the areas that you struggle with. Then you make a list of them, and then you slowly go deeper into it. Identifying your fixed patterns. Some people may be very confused. They have no clarity of where they are, where their life is, what they're doing. And there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of mess. Some people would have absolute crystal clear clarity. Some people may not have it. That's where the support is needed. So it's not just hypnosis. It's the person that you're working with, how much clarity they have, how much experience they have. What are the other tools that they have? The more the tool, the better it is. I mean, I use these two tools. Some people probably be using a tool of probably sound healing, theta healing, acupuncture, acupressure, massages. All these are different tools. Mm-hmm. So you have to see how well the person is equipped. And multiple tools can be used.
Have you had success with helping people improve profits in their business through hypnosis?
No, I have not got any client who has come to me to increase their profit. However, I've had people who have got their performance improved in their work. Eventually, they've made more money because of they're more aware and more relaxed.
Well, then you have, right? Then you have.
But not directly through hypnosis.
They didn't come here and say, I need you to hypnotize me so I can make more money. No one's ever come to you and said that.
No.
I would do that. Seems like that would be a really good selling point, right?
I have used it for myself. Yes. I've used it for myself and I've increased my profits.
Okay, so there we go.
I've used self-hypnosis to change the frequency that I'm on.
Well, I would think that would be true, right? Because sometimes people are inclined to have preconceived blueprints about money, like money is bad or rich people are bad, or you know what I mean? Like it's like a programming that you can get where you don't make money because of that, you know? So it seems like that might be an area. So then
money is just money.
Money is just money. What does that mean? Money is just
like money is everything is just is. We put our own definition.
Yeah. Right. People put things on top of things. People put meaning on top of whatever. Money, smoking, any of these things, anything. A table.
Yeah.
Put a meaning on it, right?
Yeah, it's just whatever it is, just is. You can make your own definition for
make your own definition.
Many definitions. Some people can say some people say making iPhones is evil. They make people
work definitely.
In China, many people are working, one should not buy iPhone.
Oh yeah.
So people have different understanding of everything. For some people, this could be source of living.
Yeah.
People can be making money from it and making their living from it and probably feeding their own family.
I listened to a poem recently, or spoken word, where this girl was talking about social media and how great it is. And so for half of the spoken word, she talked about how great social media was. And then halfway through, she turned and talked about how horrible it was. Because, it's one of those things. It's just and everything has multiple meanings and meanings to different people. And sometimes I think that might be what you're getting at with hypnosis, right? Is getting at the root of meaning. Do you think?
Meaning is put by you. You put the meaning in, and when you live in an unconscious space, it's like fire is just fire. Fire can be used to cook food. It can be used to burn a house. Mm-hmm. So with hypnosis, hypnosis is just a modality to help you maximize your full potential. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just a vehicle. Like you want to go from one place to another, you use your car. You can also go walking. You can also go by bus. You can also go on a bicycle. So you leverage your time by going in a car. So it's a tool that you're using to reach from A destination to B. You could also use a plane, depending upon how much money you have, how much resources you have available, how much openness you have, how much knowledge you have, how ready you are. You would use a resource that is available to you. Or how openness is also the key. You can say, oh, it's all a bunch of crap, and I don't want to go into this. They're all just trying to make money, or they're just making fool of each other, of people. You can have any kind of mindset to anything. But eventually it brings, what it boils down to is just a tool. It's just a methodology that can be useful, and it depends on your openness. Everything works on this planet. Everything works. That's why we have so many religions. Everything works in a certain way. It depends on us how we use them. So I use hypnosis for myself and with some of my clients, and if I give them homework, it works for them if they do the homework. Meditation works for me very well. Probably for somebody, something else. Yoga would work very well for somebody else.
So you said that you use hypnosis to get at basically this blueprint idea and things that are from the past, and also envisioning what's going to happen in the future. So then what is meditation? You said it transcends the mind in some way.
Meditation is beyond.
It's beyond. What do you mean by that?
Meditation is the space where there is no mind and you just have awareness. You're free from the program. When you have a program, you're still in the realm of the program. So there's a space within us which is vast, empty, clear, bright, luminous, and it just is. It's like you look at the room and you see many objects in the room. I see a sofa, I see a pillow, I see a refrigerator, I see a chair, I see a table, curtain, laptop, this wire, but there's also a space. But nobody looks at the space. We only look at the object. So we get trained to look at the objects. Whenever you go to a place, you don't look at the space, the empty space. You only look at the objects. This is what our training is. We get trained to look at the objects. In the same way, we get trained to look at our thoughts, emotions, feeling, and sensations, and we hold on to some of the thoughts, negative or positive. And that's where the misery, because we're holding on to the negative thoughts and we are suffering from it, or we hold on to the positive thoughts to keep them in place.
And all that holding on closes us down, really. I mean, and the space expands us, expands our spirit.
Yes, that's true.
Expands us. And you know that feeling. I mean, I've gotten that feeling from doing various things, Tai Chi, meditation, sometimes just even doing, stand-up comedy or acting. You get this feeling of space all of a sudden. And I think
laughter.
I think
when you laugh like crazy, you feel expanded.
Yeah, you get expanded. And that feels good.
Yes, because that's our true nature. That's why it feels good. Nobody feels good in contraction.
Nobody feels good when we're like, oh, I gotta. We always say that. Gotta. It's
and body also breaks down when you contract 24 hours.
Yes.
Body has a certain capacity. This is what it does. So when people are living in stress, they're contracted.
Mm-hmm.
There are some challenging situations that they can't
and your body
handle.
starts falling apart because it's like, I can't hold this position like that.
Yes. But you can stay like this forever, for the rest of your life, but you cannot stay like this for the rest of your life.
No.
So expansion. Why does this feel good? Because that's our true nature. So with the help of meditation and awareness, we come in contact with expansion. And what are the challenges in between? The challenges are our set belief systems that we work upon with the help of hypnosis and meditation.
That's great. All right, I'm going to have to end this on that note because I think it's just, it feels good. Can you tell us how people can find you if they want to find you as a source of therapy or help for them?
Yes, they can go on Google and write Osho Meditation Goa. My link would come on top. They can see my photograph. That's where my WhatsApp number is. They can reach me through WhatsApp or visit my website, www.oshoactivemeditations.co.in.
Perfect. Thank you. And you are in Goa right now?
Yes.
Wow. So outside the window is Goa. Well, I guess in that room is Goa as well.
Yes.
So do you spend a lot of time there now? Last time we spoke to you, we were in Delhi.
Yes.
Are you enjoying, are you down there for months or are you living there or what's going on?
I live in Goa. I go to Delhi only for 2 months in a year
You
when it
do.
rains a lot, June and July. And
Yeah.
pretty much 10 months in a year I'm in Goa.
So I'm
I
so
came back 1.5
jealous. I'm
months
so
ago.
jealous that you're there. No,
You should
am I
come. You
jealous
should
or
come
I'm
back.
I'm envious. I'm envious. Because I
That's
think
okay. Both
jealous
is
would mean
okay.
like I don't want you to be there. I want to be there instead of you. No, I'm just envious.
There's enough space. Goa is big. You
There's
can
enough
come.
space for both of us down there. Everybody. Yeah, I can't
Even for
wait
more.
to get back there, really.
Even for
Um,
more people. You can bring
yeah.
as many of them as you want.
All right. Well, thank you for spending time with us today.
You're
And
welcome, Joey.
I hope
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you
me today.
soon.
See you soon.
All right. Keep the space. Keep that space open.
Open space. The vast empty sky.
I love that, actually. The vast empty sky. There's a yoga teacher that says that a lot. I love that statement. Here's Bloss again.
The
Come on
vast empty
in.
sky, meaning
Vast
there's
empty
enough
sky.
space for everyone. Is that what that was referring to?
Yes, I think it
Vast
kind
empty
of gives
sky.
you that idea, or that idea that he was talking about space. And I'm not talking the final frontier, or maybe I am talking the final frontier, but about having space in your body, in your life, in your time.
Yeah, there's
Is
enough
important,
space to
right?
accomplish what you want.
Yeah. You need
Even
space. You need
when you're
space.
going, I always say sometimes you go left, and everybody's human. Everybody has their journey, their path, right? And we learn from our mistakes, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you go left and you go, oh, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. There's space for that. There's space for
Yeah.
learning. There's space for growing. The minute you
There's
think you
space
know
for
everything,
imperfection,
oof, yeah.
right?
Yeah, because you gotta continue to grow. I feel like people
Yeah.
that do something repetitious, like if you have a repetitious job and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're not leaving room for any kind of any learning something new or investing yourself in something completely different from what your repetitious job is, you're wasting space.
Yeah. Goa, people are asking where Goa is. Goa is in India. It's on the coast. It is beautiful there. We
Is
went to
that
the
it?
Divaria. Yeah, this is Goa behind us. We went to
That's
the
gorgeous.
Divaria Wellness Center. That's where we met Agyat. That's not Goa. That is Mesmerism, I think. Um,
Oh,
I need to
the
get the
beat
hell to Goa.
or that?
Yeah.
Oh, that. Hello.
Did you get mesmerized?
I was getting a little queasy.
Do you have hysteria?
Um, I wish I did. I really wish I did, because I'd like somebody to, cure it. Maybe
Yeah,
if somebody
that'd be
would
good.
volunteer to
I've got the
cure my
cure. I've got the
hysteria.
cure. I've got an
No, no, no,
okay.
not you, not you, not you, not you,
Do you
not
know?
you,
No, I'm not going
not
to
you.
mesmerize you.
I
Don't worry.
mean,
I won't
no, no, no,
mesmerize
no,
you.
no.
I'm not going to
A
molest
woman, a
you.
woman.
I just want to
That's
tell you
probably my
this. Um, System of a Down. Have you ever heard of that band?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So they're like a heavy metal band, or I don't know what you would call them, but they're pretty hardcore
Yeah, they're pretty hardcore.
rock, right?
Yeah, they're between
So
metal and grunge, right? Somewhere around there.
it's a cool sound. But
Yeah.
what if System of a Down came from India? We're going to find out. So there's this guy
Ooh.
called Andre Antunes. He has this hilarious YouTube channel. If you haven't heard of him before, you got to go there, because what he does is he takes people talking or people singing, and then he puts it to heavy metal music or all kinds of different music, sometimes even reggae. Hardcore. Yeah, they're hardcore. It's a hardcore band. So what he's done is he's taken these great Indian performers. It's from the Punjabi Music Awards in 2015. The Nuran
All right.
sisters singing Pataka Gudi, which is an Indian song, and he puts it, and he's there playing his guitar in the style of System of a Down. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the power of that?
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Sounds mesmerizing, I think.
Come on.
All right, let's do it. Let's bring
I
it
never
on.
hit
It's dance
myself.
break time. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks Agyat. Thanks Anton, Franz Mesmers, Anton. And thank you, Blas, for being here, and everybody, Jason Edelman and Chuck for chiming in with so many great responses, and Kamala.
Yeah, Chuck
and
was all over it today, huh?
Chuck was on fire today, and Guignel holding the pipe.
Just Jay. Can I say Just
Just
Jay?
Jay.
Listen, I'm sorry I haven't been around last couple episodes, and I think you're doing great with the puzzle. You got to complete it though. Whoever's telling you to not do it, no, do that thing. Do that thing. You're gonna be so happy. It's gonna make you feel so much better.
I bet meditation would help.
Feel better. We want you to feel better.
I think she should sit and visualize the completed puzzle. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like you have to visualize it. You have to see it complete, so that you can put it together. Doing that, you start seeing the puzzle in different places and different pieces. You start visualizing those pieces and where they're supposed to be, not just the colors, but the shapes.
But it's so ugly. The puzzle's so ugly it might give you nightmares. Anyway, here we go. Dance break time. Dance it out. Everybody dance them if you got them. Here we go.
Do that puzzle, Jeff.
somewhere in New York.
Check out Andre and Tunes when you get a chance. Super fun.